Hey, ice buddies, welcome back. Tonight we have Ryan Marshall of Marshall Arachnids, and we are going to talk some really cool stuff. We are going to talk about tarantulas and a new, I don't think it's new, but it's definitely kind of rocked my world as far as how to keep them husbandry. A new philosophy, a different philosophy on husbandry of these simple, easy to keep creatures, right? We're also going to talk about his designs and kind of the process of designing a fabricated enclosure for pets. This is kind of a simple, it's a simple four-walled like box, essentially, a purple box. But the features that go into it are so specific to what is needed. Hey, Menagerie. Oh, I knew Rick would be here. Rick, you've been here for like 20 minutes. Ryan, if you can hear me, if you want to do the taste test while you're on or not, it's up to you. I could do it now, or we could do it when you're in. You can nod if you want it, or shake your head. Yes? All right. So we have a special treat. We have another taste test, and I said I was going to taste Wally's isopod chow. I need to grab that. I forgot all about that. We're going to do that next week. But Supreme Gecko isopod chow, Supreme isopod chow, go check it out. So, yeah, we're going to bring Ryan in right now, and then we're going to do this taste test thing right away. We'll get that out of the way. So far, Ryan's having a lot of fun. We might get his wife on camera, which is a rare occurrence, apparently. So we'll see.
Talking about you.
Here we go.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, Ryan. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, man, this is cool.
People come on this show.
This is cool. Yeah, no, this is great.
Like, this guy just rambles for an hour and a half. What is he doing?
So that's what I do all the time, man.
Keeping people up late. Yeah, I know. That's how I got you on the show. That's well. Rick is really what I did, or how I got you on the show. But
yeah, we appreciate Rick.
He's a great dude.
Yeah.
But his invitation to your video earlier, I'm going to try to get a link from you and post it in the description.
Yeah, I'll grab that for you.
Let's do the taste test first and get that out of the way. Do you mind?
Go for it. No, go for it.
You're going to blow the smoke the other way? No, sorry, dude. So I found this. I'm a big fan of. Here's a question to the audience. I can't tell where the camera is. Here's a big question to the audience. And to Ryan. Do you eat cereal, Ryan? Are you a cereal eater?
Negative. No.
No.
It's not
to
bad.
Those of you, what's up?
It's not bad. I just don't eat it.
Okay, fair.
Yeah.
To those of you that do eat cereal, do you drink the milk afterwards? I will, spoiler alert, I buy cereal based on how it's going to make the milk taste. So that's like a deciding factor for me. If it's going to make the milk taste good, I drink it. So This is supposedly going to taste like Frosted Flakes, which is one of my top cereals. They had about a dozen flavors. Always Menagerie's on board. I knew it. I knew you'd be on board, Heather. All right, so here we go. This is going to be in my... I have two of these. One's already poured. This is a badass Captain Morgan bottle that got turned in. What are you drinking?
Rum.
All right.
Cheers.
Bravo. So this is how much we have to drink for the episode.
All right.
So I'm being very brave. I have not tasted this yet. So expectato.
Cheers.
Smells a little like bread.
Looks like bread.
It tastes like the milk that you get from Frosted Flakes, but it kind of is thick.
That sounds like a win, though. Yeah.
It's kind of thick. So this is supposed to be some kind of breakfast essentials. 10 grams of protein. It's got vitamins. I don't know. Anyway, it's people chow.
But it's not bad, right? It's okay?
It's not bad. No, it's not like that friggin' Mountain Dew that Chris Biggs still gives me shit for. So, sorry, we throw a couple minor curse words around here sometimes.
That's okay. Yeah.
If you don't want to be associated with that, let me know. Oh.
It is late, so it's fair.
It is. And I label it not for kids. So
Right. We're safe. We're fine.
So not why you're here, but the reason I wanted to get you on sooner rather than later is to get you close to the video that I saw. You recently, it was like last month, maybe?
Yes.
It was definitely last month, but
right.
About a month ago.
Yep.
A video about the husbandry of tarantulas. And from what I saw and what I caught was that we're sold this bill of ease of care with tarantulas, which is kind of true. Like, they're super hardy. They put up with a lot of crap, but they're not comfortable at our room temperatures or my 65-degree basement temperature.
Right.
So what inspired this video? Because you said it was impromptu. You said it in the video and you said it before we aired tonight. So
Right.
what prompted that video? Because it seemed like there was an urgency to it. When I watched the video, it seemed like you were like, enough's enough.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean there's a lot to that answer, but the in a nutshell, I kind of addressed in the video that ever since I had started husbandry, that what we were being sold, like you said, that it didn't jive with what I knew about natural history and animal husbandry, and so I just took my own. I always did my own thing, which was never really an issue because I didn't really interact with but a couple of hobbyists. But since we started the business, now we're growing and we're interacting with people at expos, and now we're shipping animals, and with that exposure comes inquiry, which is, well, how do you provide care for the animal, right? We have care guides, we have care sheets, and while we appreciate the business, and we want business, we put the animals first. So we're very focused on husbandry, and we don't want to just, we're not in it for money, like at all. I'd rather not do this. So we're very focused on providing the best care from A to B for the animal. So with that, I think we had just come back from a local expo that we had done, and and what we hear a lot is, we always ask, do you have any questions? Do you want to, are you familiar with this species? Have you visited our website? Have you done your research? And we're met with, well, I have this book. I've listened to so and so, without naming names, content creator.
Sure.
And unfortunately, a lot of the information is all bundled up and regurgitated, and that's just what we're fed in the hobby, right? And that same passion, the same information, for lack of better words, is just regurgitated. And then we say, well, we do it a little differently, and here's why. And so then we're kind of met with this like 50-50 of kind of like, there's pause, and like, I don't really know how to respond to you because that contradicts what we've been told. Or, the other half of that, the flip side of the coin is, oh, that's really interesting. I didn't know that. Tell me more, So as a result, we just made that video because we get it on a daily, if not weekly basis. And so it was just kind of like let's think. And it was not done well, but it was kind of let's pause and let's talk about a little bit about how we're very successful breeders for the amount of animals we have. We don't have the largest collection, but we don't lose animals. A death is rare in our collection, and we do everything that I would say is a no-no, and we do it because the animals are responding. We're giving them stimulus that they would receive in the wild, and they're behaving accordingly to their natural behavior, like their natural biology. So I think this is going to be ongoing, and I don't necessarily want to. I think the biggest thing we're trying to accomplish is just to let's open our book, I guess, in terms of husbandry. Like, technology has changed significantly within the last 10 years. Our knowledge of these animals in the wild and in captivity has changed immensely in the last 10 years. So I think I want to see the conversation shift, and not so like dogmatic, and like there's a very emotional response of like, no heat, no light, it's bad. And it's like, have you guys ever been to the rainforest? Have you ever been to a desert? and that's okay. And that's the thing. I also want to say, you don't have to visit these places. You don't have to be a scientist, a biologist. You don't have to go to these places to just think about how nature works and what these animals are exposed to. I think a lot of the times we're just referring to a single book or this regurgitated knowledge. So anyway, that's what prompted that video,
which is excellent. I think there's a lot of pushback when you start to change how things are being done, and like you said, what's accepted and what's regurgitated, because that's what people, I mean, in my lifetime, like I'm 47, so in my lifetime, almost all the science I learned as a kid is wrong.
Right. But that's science, right? That's science.
Right. Science grows and science, but like the pushback in my own head is like, what? How is
Yeah.
how is this a thing?
Right.
How is
We want to
how is
cling to
this
that.
issue?
Yeah.
Because you want it to be the way that you learned it. You don't want to be. There's such a weird stigma with people think they're dumb. You're not dumb. You're just
Right.
ignorant, and
Right.
ignorance not like a problem unless it's on purpose.
Correct. I
So
agree.
I think we're going to have a couple more guests on in the near future where we talk about kind of similar things like the husbandry of these animals. Um, the people that we're having on are keeping them like, I don't want to say non-traditionally, but I feel like holistically. Holistic is a good word. I just thought it. I've been trying to come up with the word to describe how you kept the animals in your video. Like you're keeping
Sure.
them with live plants, you're keeping
Yeah.
them with mist systems,
Yeah.
lights.
Yeah.
It's just, it goes against everything I've ever seen for tarantula keeping, and it's amazing. So you've got me keeping my whole system back here of all my nocturnal creatures on a timer. They're
Good.
timed with their
Yeah.
lights. So
Mhm.
they're with plants. But there's a grow light there. So they're getting some minimal vitamin from it. But because that's all I use down here is the lights that give me some kind of fake sunlight, right?
Yeah, of course. Mhm.
But yeah, there's definitely that pushback. And I think it's kind of brave of
Yeah.
you to do that, especially as somebody who's you're kind of starting out with the business, right? It's pretty new.
It is very new. It's this whole thing is very new for us. We're just over a year in. So
Because the
Yep.
hobbies, all of these hobbies, the people, the reputation, the old guard will try to crush you for stuff like this.
Oh
Do you know
yeah.
what I
Oh
mean?
yeah.
Like
Oh
they
yeah.
want to push back on that and make you
And
look
that's okay.
out to be the dummy.
Yeah. But you can't, because I'm very passionate about this. And here's the thing is, like, you're not fighting me. You're fighting natural history. Like, you're fighting biology. It's not me, and it's not
Yeah.
so I don't feel bad about it. And like I said in the video, I have a zoological background, and our focus was always, and I had the privilege of working with species that were endangered, and it was my job to reproduce them by either naturally or artificial means, and for re-release into the wild. I did that for many years, and it was like, and this is, I also wanted to point out too, in this, we're not just fighting like data, like we're fighting mentality with keepers. There's a big mentality with this, which is simple. I got into spiders because I can keep them in a box, and that's cool, and I can just throw them a cricket and they're fine. Like, they're fine. You hear that all the time.
Yeah, for sure.
And so there's many. It's a very complicated issue, but the point is like, I don't get upset by people not liking. I know they don't like what I'm saying. Most of them don't, and that's okay. Because it's not. I don't take it personally. It's just, it is what it is, and like, the technology has changed. Our view and our knowledge of natural history and biology has grown immensely within just the last few years. So, and also I've been doing this long enough now to where I know it works. Like, we have a lot of success in doing this, and we pride ourselves on reproducing the animals that we sell. And if it wasn't working, then by all means I would change it and not be so loudmouth about it. But
right.
They respond, right? So it's okay.
Just to see those natural behaviors, like I was saying to you before the show, like that one, I have my Arizona blonde that is somehow hidden from my wife, even though she came down here to talk to me and had her hand on the cage.
Yeah.
And I didn't know if she was out or not. I was like, oh God, if she's out, and
that's close.
She's directly under my wife's hand right now, like directly under it.
Yeah.
If she sees a spider move that size, she's gonna flip out.
Yeah.
Thankfully Margot was in her hide. So
yes.
because that's my wife's like number one rule. Her number one rule is centipedes, which I'm totally behind. I hate centipedes.
I'm with you, man.
They're so creepy. They are so creepy.
They are. But I gotta be honest. And this is, it might surprise people. I'm actually still afraid of spiders. Like, I still am.
Really?
Yes. I'm still very nervous around them, but I respect them, so, but anyway, the centipedes are the same thing. I got Jessica one for her birthday, because she wouldn't shut up about it. So I got her one, and I got to say, they're cool. They're really fun. They're really cool to watch. They scare me. I'm terrified of this.
Like, I watch videos of them to try to get over it. And every time I watch a video, I'm almost ready to click it up. I'm like, no.
They're very intense. I get it. I look at it. I'm like, ooh. but they're very cool
It's
to
like
watch.
visceral. It's like a visceral reaction. I've never been bitten by one or hurt by one, but
you feel
they're
it.
so creepy. Yeah.
Yeah. You're like, ooh, it's gonna grab me.
Yeah.
So I get it.
Menagerie, I don't know if you can see the comments, but 503 Menagerie, let me put this up. So
There we go.
she said thinks people are dedicated and have invested so much time and labor, it's hard to change. It's hard to admit they need to change.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I don't think these changes need to happen immediately. Like they could be incremental.
No, and that's the thing we're meant with all the time is like, well, they're fine. Like keepers have been doing this for years and they're fine. They're thriving. I'm very, you got to be real careful saying that word. And I don't argue against that. So it's like, I don't think my mission, I guess, in all of this is to just change a mindset, right? It's like, let's open our minds to the possibility that perhaps there's other ways of providing care for these animals, so, but yeah, you're right. That's very true. Yeah. People don't want to be wrong, but it's not personal. And that's what I think people need to understand is none of this it shouldn't be personal. Like your mission should be to provide the best care that you can for the animals that you have the privilege of keeping. So.
Well, and unfortunately, your business model here came out in a time where everything is personal.
Oh, I know.
And anytime you challenge anything anyone knows, you're attacking them. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of crazy.
You're right.
It's just it's poor timing, I think. I don't know that you'd be getting as much pushback pre-pandemic. Do you know what I mean? I feel like people have hunkered down and.
Oh yeah, yeah, and I understand that. Yeah, I'm not saying I'm an exception to that. I mean, I've definitely cling to this as my identity, but
yeah,
you have to walk it back a little bit and just, think put the animals first.
A little humility goes a long way. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Bug Hub's here. Hey, Jose, what's going on, buddy?
Hey.
I knew we'd get some spider folk.
Yeah.
I'm just fascinated by the spiders. I really want to keep. I don't have the time or energy to keep the feeders for jumpers. I want to keep jumpers again in a big way. Mm-hmm. I have 2 that are down here on my desk that have made their little nests on my desk and take out fungus gnats and stuff.
Yeah.
I have a little bamboo thing right here.
Oh yeah, you got a lot going on there. Yeah.
There's a jumper there. Yeah, this is pardon me, but my daughter drew on this with window markers. I haven't scraped it off yet. This is going to be the grow tank for the newts, and these are the crested newts that I've been featuring
cool.
lately.
So you have amphibians as well.
There they are.
Yeah, they are.
I went with Rick to a show and Show Me Reptile show in Wisconsin, and literally the first table we saw, they had the crested newts that I've been looking for 2 years.
That's a cool animal.
And I screamed. I literally was like, "Oh my god, I have to have those!"
They're a cool animal. Yeah.
Yeah, they're really cool. But they already laid eggs. So.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah. So
sometimes the moving gets these animals to, lay some eggs.
But
that's cool.
Yeah, so I'm trying to keep them more holistic too. Like they're from colder regions, so there's no heat involved. They're gonna stay down here. I was tempted to bring them upstairs, but that made me want to do that too and spend a lot of money on plants. So
yeah, I get that.
Still have plants
that can be dangerous. Yeah.
Yes. And I only murder them, so I'm gonna have to keep bringing plants in.
It's tricky. Yeah. Yep.
Who's this, Alex? Yeah, Rick will verify. I literally screamed when we walked in and saw them immediately.
Yeah.
Immediately, the first tank, and the male was really trying to get it on. The male was like, "Hey, girl, how you doing?"
Opportunistic, man. Got to get it while you can.
He was ready.
Yeah.
And it shows.
That's cool.
So now, how long have you been keeping arachnids? Like you said, you have a background in zoology. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So I started as a hobbyist, and I'm going to get the years wrong because I'm going to be honest. The last 5 years of my life have been condensed down to like 1, 2, maybe.
Sure.
So,
like everybody, yeah.
Yeah. But I started as a hobbyist. I got a job when I was going to school. I have a degree in the medical field, actually. But when I was going to school, I got a job working for a company called Josh's Frogs. They're local here in Michigan, where I was exposed to the amphibian hobby and husbandry. And I didn't manage it, but I took care of the dart frog collection there for about 5 or 6 years. And then I moved to Omaha to pursue a career in AZA. And I got an internship at the Omaha's Henry Dooley Zoo, where that was where my real interest and passion kind of took hold. I was exposed to a lot of really brilliant people, really smart, passionate individuals who were all about conservation. And Omaha has they're a beautiful zoo. If you ever go to Nebraska for any reason, that zoo is incredible. I would say it's one of the top 3 zoos in the country. So if you ever are out that way, go. It will take you more than a day to walk through the whole thing.
That's what I like to hear. We travel to go to zoos to visit different zoos. So those are our destinations. So
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not
St. Louis
much,
Zoo and Omaha Zoo. Omaha Zoo is amazing. You have to go. If anyone's listening and you want to go to a zoo, it's worth it. Get a hotel. It will take you days to go through it. It's beautiful.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but I got my internship there. I guess I should back up too. When I was at the tail end of my time at Josh's, that's when I started getting interested in arachnids. Like I said, I had arachnophobia my whole life and just kind of took the plunge. I was introduced to, I think it was a Ephebopus marinus, a skeleton leg. I met one in person. I was terrified of it, but it was really cool. And I realized my fear is probably misplaced about these animals. So, and then I heard that Metallica, the Poecilotheria, the blue one, was difficult to breed. And I just was like, I want to figure that out. So I just did my research and I got them and made some. And then that was basically how this business got started. But yeah, I got an internship working for Omaha, and then I got hired as a keeper, and then I got involved in a couple of conservation projects in Honduras, which was battling amphibian chytrid fungus, which, if you don't know, you keep an eye on your newts. Amphibian chytrid fungus is sweeping throughout the globe. It's a global issue with amphibian populations, and I jumped on a conservation project working with 3 species of amphibian in Honduras that were endemic to Casuco National Park. And that was just when I really, all my field observation skills kind of kicked in, and it was really paying attention to how these animals, it was really crucial. So it was how do we observe these animals that have never been kept in captivity and bring them in a hurry in Central America, where it's not like the U.S. It's a mess in terms of having a laboratory there and trying to get something done, I guess, in a hurry is difficult there. But it was how we would go out to the forest and we would just start watching everything, which, by the way, just going for spiders alone is incredible to any of these tropical places. It's amazing. But my mindset of how do we watch these animals, and what are the cues that drive them that happen environmentally throughout the year, and how do we capitalize on that to bring them in and save them, right? Bring them in, clean them up of chytrid, raise them up to a certain adult stage, or maybe even juvenile stage, depending on the environment, and how do we save them, right, from going extinct, which they're going to do soon, right? So I was really, I think that was when I learned, wow, as a hobbyist, right? I was just keeping frogs in boxes for years, and it was there's a lot going on here that I have not paid attention to with everything, right? Just from sundown to sun up in the rainforest, just watching how things behave. Really, I took that to heart, and I'm still passionate about it. So that's where this mentality of mine comes from, this mindset of let's really pay attention to what they're doing and how that affects their day-to-day, right? The animals. Yeah. So I've been rambling. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, no. We're here to ramble. You said you watched the show. That's kind of our MO.
Okay, so, cool. I'm glad. Thank you.
I like to get real reactions and get people to talk real about these things. So
that's awesome.
I did want to rewind a little bit. So you were talking about the chytrid fungus.
Yes.
Did I say that right?
Yep.
So I knew about the fungus. I didn't know what it was named. So
okay.
You're saying you can clean it up off of the animals? You can get rid of it?
Yeah. So chytrid is the chytridiomycosis, which is after the animal contracts the fungus and it affects their skin. It's actually very easy to get rid of that. The chytrid fungus is very specific, and it actually really thrives in cooler, wet regions. But once you bring the frog in, and usually itraconazole is the medicine used to cure them of that. But chytrid is very easy to get rid of on the frog. It's very difficult to remove from the environment. So
sure.
the issue becomes then, well, what stage do you reproduce the animal in captivity to increase their chances of survival in the wild, and like how are they going to combat that? And at the time, I think I left the project, but at the time we were thinking at juvenile stage, they probably have the best chance because the tadpoles were being affected on their mouths. And so if you want to increase the amount of the chances they have of survival. So it was like, okay, let's figure it out. Where can we release this particular species in this particular environment to jumpstart their success, right? But yeah, it's very easy to cure the amphibian of the disease of the fungus. Fungus is very picky,
but I know that they're dying massively across the world, basically, from this fungus. So,
that's the stressful thing for all of these conservation efforts around the world. They're like, oh my God, we can take them in, we can hoard them, and we can fix them, but then there's nowhere to go back to. You know,
what do we do with them?
How do we get rid of the environment? And so now it becomes on a very micro level, like manipulating the microbial communities on their backs, on the frog's skin, the amphibian skin rather. To combat the fungus. But then of course, just like a virus, the fungus is also changing. So it's just kind of a big mess.
Unreal. As I just was trying to plan a fungus episode, because I've been watching that. Have you seen that special on Netflix about like crazy fungus? I don't remember the name of it.
Fantastic Fungi, maybe?
Maybe. It just goes on about, basically it's about mycelium and how crazy it is throughout the world, and psychedelics and the whole deal.
Yep.
I
saw that in theaters. Yeah, it's amazing.
But then this is the flip side. This is the evil side. Like, what's the point of that fungus?
Yeah,
you're supposed to eat dead stuff.
Well, it's interesting. Like they're speculating that humans are terrible for everything, but we brought that traveled around the world. We think it originated in Asia with food, like the food markets, like because bullfrogs are carriers of the fungus. They're not affected by it. And we think we trace that back to there, which it's in a way the fungus is contained there, but elsewhere, just like COVID, right? It's like, no, I shouldn't say that. It's not like COVID, but now it's out in the world where it can multiply and affect things in a bad way, right? So
or it's in environments that don't have anything to check it. So like it's not its native environment, so there's nothing there to like keep it in check, so it just kind of goes nuts.
You got it.
Mutates in susceptible communities. It's just bad news. It's just one of those crazy things. There's so many things attacking amphibians right now.
Oh yeah,
pollutants down the line.
Everything. Anyway,
we could go on and on about conservation. So you have recently designed the purple box.
Yes.
How long ago did this come out?
Just like everything in this business that we've made, like it only, like from the time of its release, I think we started planning 3 months in. So like when I started this, I just refused. I was like, I don't like acrylic. I think acrylic is dumb. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I like glass. I like glass because we can manipulate the parameters within the box. That you have more flexibility with glass, right?
Yeah.
But then I started thinking, well, like we do raise our spiderlings in the polystyrene and the acrylic, and that's fine till we can get them in something larger. So like, and the hobby just absolutely loves acrylic. So it's like, well, let's try, right? So the purple box was our first stab at this, and we designed it with the intention of changing everything, like just having it be this ongoing thing. And because the cool thing about the age that we're living in is people like us can get this equipment and make really cool designs, and you're seeing it just in the arachnid hobby alone, especially after the pandemic hit and people are inside and they don't have shit to do, and they're like, I love my animals, what can I do for them? And you make all this cool stuff. Like, we're no exception,
right.
It was just kind of like, okay, we want to be a business, we want to be a name, what can we do? So we designed the first run, and we got a lot of support. It was really cool. I didn't expect it to be that supportive. But then we hit like our first real big speed bump, and I knew this was going to happen. I just didn't expect it to happen so easily, which was the larger ones that we made, they started warping, which the which the material does. That's just, you cannot avoid that with acrylic, but we didn't expect it to happen so easily, right? So it was like, okay, so let's take care of those folks who supported us. Like, let's, hook them up, and then we'll go back to the drawing board. Let's take their feedback in, and let's make something bigger and better and cooler, and then we'll re-release it and try again. So I still prefer glass. I gotta say, I just have to say it. But for the little acrylic boxes that we made, I'm very happy with them. We use them in our collection too, and we do all sorts of cool little experiments with them because, again, we want to make cooler stuff all the time. So we've raised jumping spiders. We've actually got 2 or 3 of these little purple boxes with like 1,000 jumping spider babies in them. I don't know what the hell we're gonna do with them. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, the purple box line is just kind of our first attempt at being in the hobby, I guess. Like, what can we do? So we're excited to see where it goes.
I like there's the different versions, like the different sizes and different you have them kind of set up for arboreal and terrestrial, right?
Yeah. Yep. And that's what we want. What we want to try and do too in the future is we want to keep those different variations, but we'll probably beef them up quite a bit. And we want to look into, we've seen some really creative stuff. I'm going to butcher the names, but a customer of ours was like, hey, have you seen this? Took her cell phone, like, check this out, and was showing us some really cool stuff that companies are doing. And I think that's going to do really cool things for the hobbyists, because now it's just going to drive innovation, just like everything else, drive innovation, and like just really provide us with options, to provide better care. Even with acrylic, I hate to say it, even with acrylic, I think we're going to be able to do some really cool stuff in the future. So
I just think acrylic is that thing. It's such an not easy, but it's so much easier to work with than glass.
Yes, and that, which is very true.
Options. It's so much cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
But it's that catch-22. Like it's one of those things. But it's gonna last forever. It's gonna, once you have it, you have it.
Yeah, well, it's very lightweight. I get that people like that. It is very clear. It does scratch very easily, but it's very attractive. It's a very attractive material. Even zoos are using acrylic and polycarbonate, and they're getting away from glass too. So it's just the way things go, which is cool.
Yeah, and you can kind of buff those out too, but unless you really, really gouge at it, like me.
Which I've done. Yeah, I've done it too. Yeah,
I just made an acrylic lid for that 29-gallon tank. Not a lid, but like a rim.
Yeah.
To put some basically it's like a Teflon coating for the ants, so they can't get out. And it's working.
Smart.
It's working really well. So
yeah, that's another thing too. Another trick. If you keep racks, use I'll yell at Jess. Teflon tape. What is it?
What?
Teflon, that liquid Teflon.
Yeah.
So she takes that liquid Teflon, and because we have rack systems for everything, we just take like the bottom 3/4 of an inch of each rack and just use that liquid Teflon around the base.
What's the name of it? This is it. PTFE. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah. And ants can't climb up or get to your spiders, so because they're only going to get up by
name.
Right.
Yeah, so that's why I put her on the base of my tarantulas thing. And yes, Alex, I did get my Arizona blonde. I've had her for a little while now, month and a half. She's been through a lot. She's been through a lot so far. She's had to be manhandled like 3 times. She's gotten attacked by ants twice.
Yeah.
Good thing she's taking it easy now. She's on a vacation. And I'm going to try to bring her out back to my desk so that I can observe her. Because she's pretty active. She's pretty stunning.
That's cool. Yeah.
I'm always surprised.
Must be happy, man. Must like what you're doing.
Yeah. They're faster than I thought.
Yeah, they are.
When they're upset.
I gotta laugh. I see it all the time. Hobbyists are like, they will not recommend something because it's fast. It's like every single one of these animals is faster than you. Every single one of them. So like it doesn't matter. Like honestly, they're all fast. Every single one of them is lightning. And sure, I guess some are faster than others, but they're all fast.
If they get motivated.
Lightning. Yes.
If they get motivated. She was like, she had enough. I'm assuming it's a she because I named her Margot. But I want her to be a she, so she lives like 20 years.
Yeah.
But she was coming out all, slow, and she was clearly upset. She kept doing this thing. I don't know if you've seen it, where she kind of buried her head and stuck her rump way up.
Yep.
Like flipped it up backwards. Is that?
Yep.
Like a don't bother me or hey.
Yeah. Exposing those urticating hairs.
Okay. Well, thank God she didn't get me with them. I didn't even think about that because I have a really bad reaction to those. Like I claw the crap out of my skin.
Same.
Yeah. So she didn't get me, but clearly she was showing me.
Mm-hmm.
But once I got her on my hand, she was super slow. And then I got her on my hand and she looked. You can see her look, and then she hunkered down for a second. I was like, I'm out. And
Yeah.
I just was doing this for 5 seconds, like, wait. Because I had
Wow.
those nightmares of her hitting the concrete and, cracking her abdomen or whatever.
Yeah.
And, she had been through enough. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Should be
she's
all
doing
right. They're
great.
tough. They are tough. That's good.
Yeah.
That's
So
good.
she's, hopefully they don't have a long-term memory. I'm going to try to get her out and get her a little more acclimated here soon, but not
Yeah.
tonight. But,
Hmm.
pretty soon. I'd like her to be a little more comfortable being handled. So, because like Rick's is the reason that I have one, is because I put my hand in his enclosure with his Arizona blonde, and it just came out and was like, "Hey, man, how you doing?" Just touched my finger,
Yeah.
and then I
Okay.
went to move, and he was
Interesting.
like, "No, wait, I'm not done." That was all she wanted to do. She was just like, "I just want to
Yeah.
have this moment with you, human."
They are very tactile. Yeah, it's very interesting. Yeah, different surfaces, different textures. They're very either intrigued or they don't want nothing to do with it. It's very interesting. Yeah, they're very sensitive to that.
Yeah,
That's cool.
I was shocked to see an insect be. I'll say it was curious. She had a curious reaction.
Sure.
So, like a curiosity and investigative,
Yeah.
inquisitive nature. She was
Sure.
like, "Oh, what's this guy doing? This is a new texture of human."
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. It's all stimulus. Yeah.
it just was really cool. I didn't expect that kind of a level of almost intelligence out of an insect or arachnid, I guess. Even though I knew what to expect from my little jumpers that are loose here. So even though
Yeah.
they live
Which are
on my desk,
also,
like, yeah,
yeah.
they'll
Yeah.
come right up to. They don't run. They don't even run
Yeah.
from me anymore. They're like, "Oh, what do you got?
Yeah. That's a
You got any
very
more
inquisitive
pinheads?"
little animal. Yeah. Yeah.
Because I've just released pinheads, and they're like, "Oh, well,
Oh,
okay, yes,
yeah.
sir. I'll take a
Yeah.
couple of those."
Yeah. A little pest control.
Right? Um,
Yeah.
so the purple box, do you have one with you?
Yeah. I can show you a couple. I got a couple little ones. We have
Did
the
Jess
little
bring
ones
you one
left.
while she was grossing out my audience about centipedes?
Yeah.
Gross
She
old
did get me
Jen.
some. Yeah.
Jess.
Yeah, we've got a couple here. I don't know if you can see them. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
here's one with the aluminum soffit, which I think we're gonna keep. Yeah, there's a little purple bottom there, magnetic sliding
Nice.
door. Yeah. So
Is this part of the new design that you were talking about?
no. So I'll tell
Okay.
you what's going on there. Yeah. So these are
Exclusive,
neat.
guys. Exclusively released right
That's
here,
right.
kind of.
So the next batch is in production at the moment, and we're gonna beef them up quite a bit. Like I said, we are gonna keep this version here, this variant with the grommets. Initially, when this first launched, people are like, things are gonna chew through this. We couldn't get we tested the purple box with Xenestus species, like the big South American ones.
Okay.
I
The
couldn't
old
get them to
world?
chew through it. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. I'm sorry. No, they're New World.
Okay, sorry.
But they're large, and I tried to get them to because that was my question too. I love this mesh. This mesh is fantastic. Jumping spider folks will know this no-see mesh is awesome because little babies, prey items, fruit flies cannot get out of it. But that being said, while it is tough, fangs can still pierce it.
Okay.
And of all the purple boxes we did sell, I did have one person say, "Oh yeah, my little I don't know what it was, a little Giga Sling
Okay.
ate her way out of it." So, yeah, that can happen. But jumping spider people love this, and I think that's why we are going to keep this. And one thing I wanted to mention too is I can't increase the thickness of these boxes and keep this ventilation style. These grommets are very specific to a certain thickness, so I'm going to keep this the way this is. Luckily, I mentioned warping earlier. At these dimensions, we don't get that with these because there's not as much space in between these joints here, right, for the material
Sure.
to bow and flex. So we are going to keep these like this. We are actually going to increase these. This is 3 millimeter thickness, and the next ones we're going to do 5 millimeter thickness. And we're doing some really cool like hexagonal like slat patterns all throughout too. If people want to completely just get away, I know a lot of people they don't like the look of screen. A lot of people have fear of screen, and I don't think that's entirely misplaced. So we want to offer those keepers an option of ventilation where they don't have to worry about mesh or screen. while we don't have an issue with it, we can absolutely respect those who are cautious of it. So we're going to offer some really cool, like our logo is like a hexagonal pattern. We got really cool slats going on where there is nothing to get caught up or hung up on or chewed through. So we heard that feedback, and we're going to do that for you guys for sure. And then
That's
as far
really cool.
as far as like larger boxes, we get it all the time. Can you make a bigger one? Can you make anything bigger? Because of what happened with the 12-12-8 and 8-8-12 purple boxes, we hear you and we want to accommodate you, but we're going to take it slower this time, and we're going to do our own testing. So we're going to beef them up quite a bit. We're going to do different ventilation styles, and I'm just going to drown them. I'm going to drown them, and I'm going to beat the piss out of them, and we're going to see what happens. And if I'm happy, then I'll put them into full production, and we'll crank them out.
I just see those old Samsonite commercials with the gorilla like beating the hell out of the luggage.
Oh yeah, that's
They're
what
like,
I'm gonna do.
this is good. And I see you
drop
like,
them
in a
and
gorilla
everything.
suit.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw them, I'm gonna drop them, and I'm gonna drown them, and we're gonna see what happens, and we'll go from there. But we're really happy with the little spiderling sling jumping spider style. This is pretty cool. I'm pretty happy with this. So we'll keep this. And like I said, we're gonna beef them up a little bit and do some other things with the ventilation. So
I love the sliding doors with the integral magnets. Like I think magnets are definitely the way.
Oh yeah,
with
I agree.
All of these enclosures, like magnets are so much better than just
hinges.
Sticking it on there or
that
some little clip or whatever. You know what I mean? Like it's
especially with acrylic. I'm sorry, it doesn't matter who is manufacturing your acrylic. Acrylic is acrylic, and if you use hinges and hasps with acrylic, it is just a matter of time before that gets really loud and obnoxious and annoying because it's going to bend. And when you're doing that with a hinge, it's on a fulcrum, right? Or it's pivoting around something. So it's just hinges are no good. So I agree with
weight
you.
on it. It's got all of that. So when I upgrade my Crested, it's going to go into something acrylic. So
nice.
I need to get the Exoterra. It's just going to be glass, I guess, because I got to get the Exoterra.
The Exoterras are great. Love those.
Yeah, I've got to find one that fits what she has in there or what he has in there now because I built these two columns for. Anyway, I'm always modifying the existing thing because I'm never happy with what exists.
Oh, I get
you
that.
obviously get it.
Yeah. That's great.
So now, who does these for you? Like you don't do these, but is it somebody that has like a production line? Or something like that's how I imagine it.
No, this is all. These are. I don't have any shame in saying it. These are all made overseas for us.
Okay.
Yeah, we went to 3 or 4 different acrylic manufacturers, and to get not even this product, but to get the material cut just for this, it was 2 to 3 times the price of what we're selling this for. So it was just like, okay. I don't know what to do. So we thought about it over and over and over again. And finally we had a acrylic manufacturer overseas recommended to us. I reached out to them, and they have been freaking awesome. They've been great. And they accommodate us every step of the way, and they give us a great price. And so, that's what we're doing for now. If anyone knows an acrylic manufacturer in America, I would love to keep it here. But man, do we got to come down because no one's going to pay $95 for this. I'm sorry. That's just not the way it works.
I'm sorry.
I'm not a business guy.
Yeah.
And, I would love to keep this in-house, but man, I don't make enough money. I can't afford to, it's got to come down. So if anyone knows of anyone, please let me know. Please reach out to us. I'd do anything to keep it in-house.
I think it's going to be hard. Yeah.
Yeah. It just is. Yeah. So
it's just the way the world is, unfortunately. All the manufacturing, if you want it done,
it's all over there, man. Well, even all the Zilla and Exoterra products, it's all done over there, and that's why we're able to get it for such a great price, and that's why a lot of the hobbyists are able to keep going with how many we have. I mean, my God, if that was made, if all of that was made here, we'd have to sell my house. So,
just to get it, just to stay in your hobby and to keep it the way you want to keep it.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Or just get some free range tarantulas just around the house, set up some heat lamps, and
no, I'm afraid of them, right? So I wouldn't do that. But if by all means, you guys do what you do.
No, I'm still afraid. Like getting out, Margot, my adrenaline was like, my hands were shaking afterwards. I was like, okay, all right, I'm fine. Nobody bit anybody. No, I didn't get any hairs in me. Yeah. She's alive. Everything's good.
It's amazing that a little animal like that can elicit such a response from us. Yeah, because really, I don't know if you. I mean, we anesthetized one of my spiders at one point, and I was kind of picking them up and feeling them. They're just little mush, like they're nothing, right? But like that
Yeah.
little fierce little animal can elicit such a fierce response from us. I just think that's really cool.
And
Yeah.
it's such a tiny thing. Like if a
Yeah.
tiny spider reared up at me, I'd be like, oh, okay,
Right. Man,
you're on
it's
your
very
own.
cool. It's cool.
You can do what you want to do.
Respect. It's all respect.
Right.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
cool.
I just think those are so cool. So did you design those in like a CAD program, or did you come up with designs on graph paper? Like, how did it work?
Yeah, you're gonna laugh. No, I use Paint.
MS Paint?
Paint. Yeah, like the word that Microsoft Paint. That's like
Yeah,
on
yeah.
every single computer. I just
Yeah.
designed it with that. Sent it to them, and they're like, "Okay."
They're like, yeah, we can do this.
Yeah, and they laughed at me a little bit, but yeah, the end result was amazing. So, yeah.
I mean, hey,
We'd love eventually. I think what we're going to do is we're going to cut out the middleman, and if we keep this going and we still get the support, and people don't hate me for talking about ways to keep their animals that make them upset, we'll probably just buy our own. We'll buy our own equipment and do it ourselves. I'm that kind of guy. I'd like to just do this all myself because I want to change so much of this, but because I got to buy a minimum of these, and I've got to, I got to wait, and I got to come here, and like I hate that. When I submitted the designs for these the first round, I changed the design 18 times, like just before they even got here. So I'd like to just do this on myself,
Yeah,
get there.
I mean, you're still prototyping basically.
Yeah, that's all this is all just prototypes. Yeah, and we get thankfully, everyone that has bought these has just been awesome, and they give us a lot of feedback. So we'll just keep going.
You got to sell them like the Iron Man suits, like the Mark 6, the Mark 7.
I literally, yes, I know that was and then Jessica laughed at me, but I'm like, everything is Mark 2, Mark 3, and then she makes fun.
Come on, Jess, get on board with your centipedes.
Yeah, you weirdo.
I feel like you could do so many more enclosures for different things if you were doing it on your own. Like if you got the Light Forge thing or whatever it is, the acrylic cutting.
It's a laser. It's all done with a laser.
Yeah,
which is very expensive. But yeah. I know that my brother actually, he's he's an engineer. He got all the brains. He went to U of M here, and he had access to laser cutting equipment. He actually made me my first one years ago. That Zilla product that it's an acrylic box that like fits together, like it comes.
I think I have one. Yeah, it's for a jumping spider.
Yes. So
and the front end like swings down. Basically.
Yes.
I have
so
one.
He made me one of those years ago, the same style, and it's interesting. I can't prove this. He made me one so long ago. You can look this up. And spider link cages was an idea I had a long time ago with that product that linked together, that was adhesive free. He made it at the college, and then it never went anywhere. But I did have people overseas asking me for the DXF file, so I'm not saying that was my idea, but I'm just saying it could have been. But I think I lost you. Are you there? There you are.
Back. All right.
Okay.
I should have warned you. My internet sucks. So like,
ours does too.
The show by yourself.
I
can never tell if I lost you or you lost me. Or
same. Yeah.
So spider link cages, that was your deal.
I'm not saying that like that design was my thing. I'm just saying it's pretty damn similar for something that.
I think it's funny how most of the times I've had like a good idea in my life, I've seen it in production like a couple months later.
I'm telling you, yeah,
right then it's like, what?
I don't know, man. There's something going on. We're all on this weird wavelength. I'm telling you.
Yeah, the ideas are there. We're just kind of accessing them at the same time.
Agreed.
Yeah, I freeze all the time, you guys. Oh, Koosman's here. Cool. Yeah, that's kind of the signature of my show is rambling and technical difficulties.
I like it.
So we even have a hard line down here now. So
yeah,
shouldn't have that, but that's why I can't really sell my house. I've just drilled holes in walls. Like, oh, we need a wire. Here we go.
I'm the same. Yeah.
Yep.
Make
Sorry.
it work.
I'm gonna live here forever.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's great. So So you found these guys in China. You sent them the MS Paint
Yeah,
designs.
yeah, and they laughed at me. So
They
it was
literally
nice.
laughed like, "Okay, sure."
They did. Yeah, they're like, okay, give us some time. But yeah, no, they're great, man. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It is what it is. I'm a straightforward guy, man. They're freaking awesome. They've been super accommodating. So yeah,
I think it's great that they worked with it and they just made it happen.
oh yeah, yeah. And I've changed, like I said, at least while it was in production, I changed the design 3 times, and they're like, "Are you?" They were like, "Are you serious? Like, the ball is rolling here. You can't do that." And I'm like, "Please." So you know,
Please.
yeah, yeah,
But I want it. But I
yeah.
need this.
And
You
they've
guys.
they jumped. Yeah, they're like, "Okay, fine."
And they're doing the grommets and everything for you there.
No, no. So all they're
Yeah.
doing is the frame. They're just cutting the frame, and then they come here and I do these. I cut these and fit the grommets. Yep, and I drill or I put the handle on and do all that kind of stuff. So no, they're just doing the frame.
So you put the magnets and the whole deal that's happening in
Yeah.
house.
Hmm.
That's still a lot of work
Yeah, it is a lot of work.
until you
Yeah,
go like nationwide and it's, it's the new way to do it.
yeah, yeah.
So I just like the idea that it's so modular and you can get exactly what you want.
That is the upside to acrylic. Yeah, yeah. It's very easy to cut and manipulate in cement and glue. Yeah, and you can knock things out and replace it, which I haven't crossed that bridge yet. But there is that plus side to acrylic too, which I guess you can do with glass. But glass is also heavier and harder to cut. So anyway,
Yeah, definitely. I have the tools
yeah,
to cut acrylic, but not glass. Well, not
yeah,
well. I guess I can't cut glass well. So
right. Yeah, I think
I
it's just it's
suppose.
it's the same idea, just larger and heavier, heavy duty. I don't know what I'm talking about. I think I've seen it done, so I think it's the same kind of idea. Yeah.
Yeah, I have some glass cutting I need done, so I have to find out who to get to do that for me.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
got to
know if
make
they
those
do
phone
that at
calls.
places.
Yeah, yeah, they
Yeah,
do. Jessica always says Home Depot, but I never call them. I'm always looking for like specific glass cutting people, which they're around. Just call around.
yeah.
So, yeah.
There's a place up here that does stained glass. I should find out if they do
Ooh, that'd be cool.
just glass. I don't want stained glass, but I can barely
No,
afford
but
glass. So
yeah, yeah, but maybe they'll work with you. Yeah.
or plexi, hopefully. Yeah, I've got this massive Vivarium plan that I talk about every other episode, but we won't do that
Yeah.
today.
Yeah. What do you want to put
Yeah,
in it?
everything. So
Oh, okay.
I have brainstormed I'm a very multi-species keeper. Like I want to try
Sure.
to put a bunch of stuff together, but I'm on the fence because I want to do the primary species is going to be emerald tree skinks.
Yeah, those are great.
Um, but I've got to lock that down before all these dumb laws go into effect, or
Oh
if they go into
boy.
effect. That's
I'm
terrifying.
I'm not one of those ignore it until it gets bad, but I'm trying real hard to just be like, because I'm a worrier, man. If I start
Yeah,
thinking about it too much, yeah, it's like, oh. I mean, we'll survive, but yeah, that's unfortunate. The hobby gets hit with this quite a bit, but this one has gotten momentum, and they were really sneaky about it. You know, I
yeah,
do
and
think
that's
it's
how they
too
do it.
broad, but yeah, yeah, I do think it's a little too broad, and it will bring attention, and they'll make amendments. I really do think that, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
I hope you're not. I hope they bring amendments and they knock it down and
Yeah,
crush it
yeah,
a little bit. It's a little too. I've written a couple letters myself. 18. I've sent out 18 emails to
good, awesome.
repeats, pretty much
Yeah,
repeats to
that's
the
okay.
senators. I want them
That's
to see that
volume.
volume.
Yes, that is very important. Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Hmm.
hard to be like, "What are you stupid?" It's
I
hard not to
know.
do that. It's hard not to
Yeah,
do that
trust me, I know.
because I don't
Uh,
think a lot of these things aren't going to be an issue. Like even if they were released, like 80% of the country isn't going to support these and like the
agreed.
biome isn't going to support these animals.
Agreed.
So,
Yeah.
like your exotic roaches or
Oh yeah.
whatever, they're not going to live in Illinois. Not for
Yeah.
long.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I don't know, but yeah, there's all kinds of issues going on right now with the hobby. And
It's all silly, man. Yep, it's all very silly. And it's weird. Like I've got like this weird I kind of like walk the lines, right? Like I was in it I was a zookeeper, and like they're very like a lot of them are very anti exotic pet ownership, and like they're all conservation oriented, and they're up on the legislation, and but then I'm like but I'm a keeper too, and I realize the importance of that too, and like having these animals and what that brings to people, and like I don't know, man. If it wasn't for like Steve Irwin and owning these animals, I wouldn't necessarily give a shit about what's happening over there or over in, you know, in South America, Central America, or I wouldn't care because I wouldn't have that connection here living in America, you know? So
Right.
it's like these animals are kind of my connection to the natural world outside of here doing my stupid day-to-day hustle and bustle, you know what I mean? So it's very important, man. I don't know. I think it's got a place. I think it'll stay. Just financially, like economically speaking, how much money the pet industry generates every year is astronomical. So I'm hoping that has some sway at the very least. You know.
Yeah, I think the trouble is that it's all mom and pop money, basically. And
Yeah.
I'm hoping it's not like Petco and PetSmart that are behind the push to get these
Yeah.
done.
Well, I don't know because they're not above zoological institutions, and their animals are shipped in. They're not coming. I mean, some of them might get them from next door, but these animals are all imported. So it's like, you know, I doubt they would be behind the push because they're not going to get. That's where their animals come from too, you know. So
Yeah. I don't know. It's also complicated and
it is. It's very
ridiculous.
complicated, and I don't think any of us really truly understand unless we're like in the room, you know, like what's really going on. So yeah,
that's why they just need to knock it off.
Yeah.
Have to understand all this crazy stuff.
Agreed. It's too complicated. Yeah.
Is it getting down to insects? It got down to insects too in the law too, right? It didn't.
I think it's everything non-native. I thought anyway. Maybe I'm wrong. Someone can correct me, but
I'm surprised they're not. There's still 4 people here that were talking about it earlier. Who brought it up first? Somebody already brought it up, and I told them to hold that thought so we get back to it. I don't remember. My memory is shot. I think it was Menagerie. But yeah, I think I just think it's a crazy thing. So write those letters, get out there. It's everywhere. The information and all the people you need to send letters to is out there all over every hobby page right now. So I'm not gonna beat a dead horse, but go take care of it. Go
Please.
Get out there. Activate.
Yep.
Activate yourself and others.
Yep. It only takes a second, man. And it does matter. So yeah,
right.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah, a couple links and you're good to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. If we get it. Moon did it. Okay, Moon brought it up. Did Ryan freeze now too?
Is that a freeze?
No.
I
don't think so. Jessica's picking on you.
She is looking.
She's a bully. She is a bully right there.
I'm making fun of you. Let me see what happens if I unplug this. If you can hear me.
Well, you're muted now. It shows that you're muted, so I don't know. I can't hear you. Are you back? Let me see if I can unmute you. Your mic's not connected. Can you hear me?
How about that?
Yep, there you go. Okay.
Yeah. I'm not good
He's
at this
back,
stuff.
y'all.
This is Jessica's job.
Yeah,
but that's all right.
Tech support failed this time.
Yeah, it's okay. But yeah, man. Anyway, this is cool. So I really appreciate you highlighting this. I haven't had the opportunity to really get on and talk about something that's so controversial, really, with the arachnid hobby. So this is awesome. I just want to say thanks for taking the time, man. It's cool.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for coming on. I thought it was really interesting, and I wanted to get it while it was hot. And this was like the earliest slot that I had available. And I thank you for jumping on it and taking it.
Of course. Yeah. I don't think it's. I just think, like with every issue, it's not so simple. And I think that the people who are so strong-willed are the most vocal. I just wish that those who were most vocal were more accurate, I guess. Like, I just, but I, again, it's 50-50. I think that there's not everyone feels this way. And I think for a lot of it, especially newcomers who come into the hobby, their gut intuition is to be like, it's cold in here. I live in a northern climate. Like, I should probably adjust and make these adjustments. And what do you mean? They don't live in caves. They don't live in the dark. Like they see the sun comes up and the sun goes down, and that drives, so I don't think it's everyone. I think it's just, there's a very loud, passionate group or sector of the hobby that I think just feels very strongly about it. And I think my biggest mission is just let's just think outside the box, literally, you know, like
Outside the purple box, but buy the
yeah,
purple box.
yeah,
Buy the purple
please,
box.
or don't, whatever. But yeah, just
Do it.
think outside the box, you know, and consider what really goes on outside. You know, you just have to walk outside and you'll see, you know, and I'm just going to say from firsthand experience, these things, even in broad daylight, are out of their burrows. They are out opportunistically taking advantage of
I
the
mean,
giant nuclear reactor in the sky. And that drives behavior. Now, when you go into your dark room and you turn your light on and the animal runs, that doesn't mean that it's a photosensitive. What it means is you just change that animal's entire world, like an animal that is completely in tune with its surroundings. Um, and you turned it upside down. You literally turn the lights on.
yeah,
That's very
the
dramatic.
sun isn't just like, boop,
No,
hi, how you doing? It's brand new. It's as bright as it's gonna get, and now it's
correct.
not. And
Yep.
now it is, and now it's not.
Yes. Like think about it. Like the animal that is in tune with its environment is now exposed and the lights on. That's
Yeah,
terrifying. So it's going to elicit a response, which is run away,
yeah,
panic, right? That doesn't mean it's photosensitive. They're not, right? But
yeah,
yes, the rising of the sun does drive behaviors, and it's your job to provide that animal with an adequate retreat, even if that means 18 feet of substrate so it can go down and behave like a natural spider. That's your
18
job.
feet. My
Yeah.
spider's not getting that. I'm sorry.
No, but that's dramatic. I'm
Yeah,
just
yeah,
saying,
yeah,
yeah. Give it what it needs to be a natural spider, and it's your job to understand how it interacts with its natural environment, because evolutionarily speaking, that is what is driving the behavior of the little critter that you have in your box, is millions of years of evolution in a very specific spot, right? So that's all I'm
yeah.
asking, right?
I will say I'm in the middle of the fence. So I've given her the heat
Hmm.
and the light. The light doesn't come on like gradually; it comes on. So Green Jedi Monkey, what we're talking about, I don't think I gave a good synopsis in the beginning of this video. Ryan made a video recently about keeping arachnids, particularly specifically tarantulas, more holistically, like how they would engage in the wild, how they would be in the wild, instead of if you're comfortable, they're comfortable, which is bogus. I mean, it's obvious that it's bogus.
Yes.
Um, it's just obvious that that's not a thing.
Yes.
We're taking advantage. The hobbyists are taking advantage of their hardiness, is what it is.
Yes.
Um, but yeah, she came out to bask in the heat lamp like a light bulb right directly on where she was sitting, basically. So like this far away from the plastic. So they definitely do it. She was there multiple times. I came down and she was just there in front of the light.
Yeah.
So enjoying it, you know. Not to say that she would do that all day on a hot rock, but she did it here. So
Yeah.
but she doesn't have the substrate to burrow. I didn't give her like the burrowing opportunity as much as like a stone
Sure.
burrow to get in where she's comfortable, but I can kind of see her. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like I made her comfortable, but not totally holistic.
yeah, I think a big thing too, and I want to stress this too, is watch your animal, right? It will tell you, like the animals aren't dumb, and I want to backtrack a little bit. An argument
Yeah.
that I hear a lot is like, okay, well, it's gonna sit there. Yeah, they're attracted. Here it is. I'm gonna quote: for whatever reason, they're attracted to the heat, but they don't know that it's bad for them, and they will sit there and they will choose to desiccate because they can't help it. That is insane, you guys. Like
100% stupid. It's
that is,
stupid.
I'm sorry, yeah, and no, the answer is no. If that happens, if the animal truly does desiccate, that's because you did it. You cooked your animal, and the animal didn't cook itself. You used an element that was far too hot for the box that you gave your animal to be an animal in, right? That's your fault. That the animal could not do what it does naturally, which is thermoregulate, which is what ectotherms do. That's how they survive, right? So I want to be very clear, because if anyone sees this, and I know that light bulb, you know, that, well, it's going to desiccate. Of course they're attracted to it. They're going to desiccate. No, they're not. No, that's not the way that works. No. But watch your animal. Like, it will tell you, I know, not to anthropomorphize, but it will behaviorally tell you, is it comfortable or not, you know? Like, and if it retreats to that shelter throughout the day, then maybe that's sufficient, you know? But I always do say, you know, think about what their natural environment looks like and how they interact with it. You know, we have Google, you know, at least start there. You know, that's a great resource. YouTube is another one. There's lots of really cool footage of a lot of popular species in the hobby just interacting with their normal environment. And you'll notice a lot of this is shot during the day. These animals are behaving in broad daylight. So, you know, just anyway, think about it. Watch your animal and think
It
about
didn't
where
even
they
occur to
come
me
from.
that they're in the daytime, but nobody's out in the desert. Like, we're going to look for Arizona blonde tarantula at
Yeah,
midnight and
right.
see what it's doing. Or, you know, I'm betting that they're more like, what is it, where they're dusk and dawn?
Crepuscular.
Crepuscular. Yeah. I'm
They
betting it's
absolutely
more
are.
like that. But,
Yeah, they
because that's
absolutely
where,
are.
you know, all the opportunistic hunters are there.
Yep.
I think, like you were talking about Google, I think the internet really has helped the hobbies where people can come together from all over and
Yeah.
share notes. Like you were saying before, when you first started doing it, it was a small group of hobbyists that you interacted with, and now it's the internet. Like,
Yeah.
we have access to so many great people and so many great keepers. It's a matter of finding the right ones, obviously, but I think there's that two-edged sword where it's going to bring the good people together. But I think the
Yeah.
shittier keepers are going to hunker down and, you know, muscle up and just crab shell it, kind of like, no, I know what I'm
Yeah.
doing. You're not going to change me. I'm not spending money on
See, and
vents.
and let's go back. Like, that's the mentality part I was talking about, and that's why I'm very critical of that book, that very popular Tarantula Keeper's Guide book, because that mentality, like that mindset and that emotion, the very like strong language, is what we see very actively on these Facebook groups.
Yeah.
And yeah, so and you can't really fight that. There's no point in fighting a mentality, because that's what they've just decided they're going to do with their animal, you know. So but I think slowly but surely, the more we expose newcomers to this different way of thinking, I don't even want to call it a different way of thinking. It's just, it is what it is. Like, it's just, it is an approach. Don't get me wrong, but it's not hard. It's not complicated. It does require a little more thought process on your part, and a little more research, but you know,
like that much more.
Yeah, it's really not hard.
It's really a lot of it, honestly. Like, nothing you said in the video was like mind-blowing. The only mind-blowing thing was the first time I've heard it from a keeper,
right,
from a serious keeper. That's the first time I've heard it. That blew my mind. And it was like, what? How come nobody else is saying? How come this is a revelation?
Yeah,
because of course you're going to keep them hot or warmer or whatever. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, you know, and not all of them too. I want to be very clear. Like, we were talking about, maybe we weren't, but they're not all the same. Like, there's animals that live in cloud forest, which was actually the first tarantula species I was introduced to, was in a cloud forest where it gets 50 degrees at night, almost every 50, 60 degrees every night. And the air itself is really cool. But what people don't realize about cloud forests is that the sun is very intense, right? So they're getting exposure throughout the day to this very intense heat, but the air itself is very cool, and it gets very cool at night. But just because, I don't know how to, just because it gets cool doesn't mean like keep it there all the time. Like, these animals as ectotherms can't survive that way. The way they survive is during the day they're exposed to that very intense heat, and that they heat their bodies that way, and they can metabolize and thermoregulate that way. So just because, you know, your animal's fine at 65 degrees, I see that all the time, like, that's acceptable. It's like, no, it's not. Like, there needs to be some change, because, you know. So anyway,
think about the needs of your animals. Like, what always encouraged me to upgrade my habitats for my animals was that you are literally God for these animals. You provide food, water, heat, light, everything. You provide almost every possible thing that they need. Why not give them what they actually need.
Yes,
So
and well, on top of that, you're going to bring out behaviors that are very rewarding for you and the animal, right? So it's like that little bit that you're so, dead set on not doing because you think you read somewhere or you heard somewhere. It's like if you just tried it, which I guarantee you haven't, like you're going to see some really cool stuff. Like the animals will respond because that's what they do, and it's very
yeah,
rewarding. It's cool. Lights are cool. Lights are a part of nature. Like there's a big one in the sky, and plants are cool and they're tricky. A lot of people love them to death, right? They water them a little too much or give them a little too much love. I'm guilty of it, but it's a cool aspect, and the animals will interact with foliage. They absolutely do. Like I have the Avix drink off of foliage. That's a natural behavior. And the
yeah, that was in your
Xenesthus,
video. Yeah, that was so cool.
yeah. Yeah, I have tons of footage of that if you ever want to see it, if you haven't, for your own stuff. But also my Xenesthus species, all of them seem to want to chew the leaves. I can't figure that out, but it's still something that they're doing and they're interacting with it. I don't know what they're doing, but it's cool. And
Must be getting
it's
moisture out of it, like maybe they're thirsty.
yeah, well, that's another thing too. We missed every single day, and I'm not saying like don't be mechanical. I'm not saying you missed every single day. Like your environment is going to be different than my environment, but the animals really do enjoy droplets, like fresh moisture droplets, and that's because it rains. Most of these things are from every day, twice a day. That's a fresh source of water. But yeah, they like, for whatever reason, that genus, they like to chew leaves. I don't know what they're doing, but anyway, the point is like it's not hard. It's a little bit extra, and it's cool, and you're giving your animal something to do. And
Those natural behaviors are so cool.
yeah,
To see them just pull out instead of being a box of dirt.
yeah,
Like you're going to see them actually interact with their environment and come out
yeah,
and do things and show those behaviors that you're not going to see if they're just like green shed, like I said, paper towels and plastic plants. Like,
hmm
okay, I don't have any plants in with my Arizona blonde, but
and you don't need them.
I don't
Yeah,
feel like desert.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And that's not the whole
but
point
again,
I'm
that's
trying to
another
make here.
species
But
that you're saying like it gets down to 50s and 60s at night in the desert.
hmm hmm
So that's not their everyday environment. Like the rocks and everything have heated up all day.
hot,
So
yeah,
yeah, and
yeah,
that's going to have that residual heat throughout the night, basically. So
right,
I don't
yeah.
know.
Yeah, and there is a point to make too, and I want to bring this up too. A lot of people will say, well, inside the burrows, it's a little more stable temperature, and 100%, yeah, that is absolutely correct. But the point is that you're providing a surface temperature, right? So if here's the surface of the substrate, and then down here this animal can do what it wants to do, be a spider. Up here they're exposed to a certain temperature, and it's your job to give them a gradient. They can choose, and if you give them the option to choose where they want to be, 100% every time without fail, I guarantee you will see them choose something at any point during the day. Like you will see behaviors. And a lot of people say, I have a pet hole, I have a pet rock. We have Diva Matha from India, the psychedelic earth tiger. We
Okay.
have quite a few of those. And but what's really cool is they behave crepuscularly, and they have like 16 inches or whatever, some ridiculous number of soil, and but we give them the heat and the light, and they use it. They will come out, they'll expose their beautiful legs, and and then retreat during the heat of the day, just like they would normally. They're choosing where they want to spend their time. And normally people would say, oh, I never see mine, and oh, it's just a pet hole or a pet rock. It's like, well, think about how they're going to act in the wild, and like every time without fail. This is why it's not me you're fighting. The animal will expose itself. Like it will chew, it will, you will see it.
Yeah,
They don't live in caves. They don't live in holes in the ground. They do come up, and they
yeah.
will.
You have to
So
kind
just,
of know when they're going to come up. Like get to know your animal. Like don't
yes,
just. It's not a dog. It's not going to come out
yes,
because you tapped on the glass or whatever.
yeah,
I mean, they'll
yeah,
come out when you throw feeders in. It knows that it's
oh
supper
yeah.
time.
Hmm?
But
Yeah,
I mean, it's not just going to come out. Like, okay, these newts are kind of like dogs. Like I tap on the glass and they come right out. They're like, oh, this is
sure,
where it's time to eat, right?
yeah, oh yeah, yeah,
You kept amphibians and
Oh
did
yeah.
that kind of professionally. Like, are they all hogs? They just will eat as
Most
soon
of
as it's
them,
available.
yeah, oh yeah, most of them are very opportunistic feeders. Even like the strictly nocturnal species, like your hylids. Yeah, oh yeah, they'll still come out during the day, even though they're offered food every day, every night rather, because you try to feed them during their normal times. If you offer food during the day, they're gonna wake up. Not all of them, but oh yeah, they like to eat. They're the opportunistic feeders, and frogs eat a lot. Amphibians eat a lot of food.
I
Not
think because they're so derpy. Like, they are such derpy
yeah,
uh, uh, predators. Like,
yeah,
especially these newts. They're I don't know how they would survive in the wild. I don't know what they eat in the wild that doesn't get away from them.
yeah,
But they barely can chase down pellets in my tank, but
yeah,
they do it.
yeah,
They come to the
yeah.
tweezers immediately.
Yeah, newts, salamanders, a lot of them, if they're not specialists, they're usually generalists. And they eat all sorts of stuff. Yeah, I find all
Whatever
sorts of
comes
stuff
their
in their
way.
bellies. Yeah. Yeah, that being said, I will say I've worked with cryptobonchids before, and they've gone over a year. Some of them have gone over a year without feeding. It's just
Wow.
natural, and that's something to consider. It's not all amphibians are the same, man. Every individual down to the species is very different. So something to
Which I think is
consider
really
too.
cool.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, all this stuff is cool. I mean,
it
the
is cool.
tarantulas are the same. Tarantulas are the same thing. Like, they'll go.
Yeah,
Somebody said the Arizona blondes are. I think it was Permian exotics. It was Morris was talking to me about how they go on hunger strikes and they'll
oh
eat for
yeah.
months.
And it's
Uh,
nothing to freak out about. Yeah, yeah. Just let them do it. Let
it's
them
just part of it.
let them do their thing. Yeah. Which shout out to Mr. Morrison, by the way. He did help me with one of my soil mixes. By the way, he gave me some advice one time, and I took it, and it was good advice. So
He said you
shout out.
guys were talking about some soil.
Yeah, yeah. He makes good stuff, man. I highly recommend his stuff. He makes good soils. Yeah.
He
But
definitely does.
he gave me some advice one time, and I took it, so I'm very appreciative of that. Yeah.
For your spiders, it worked out for your
No,
tarantulas.
for our tropical blend, yeah, he was
Okay,
like, you should throw some nitrogen in there, and I was like, I'm thinking of this, that, and the other thing, and he's like, I would go with alfalfa meal, yeah, and he kind of explained a little bit why, and I was like, yeah, you know what, you're right, that's great, that's good advice, so I took it.
that's awesome.
Yeah, yeah, all of our isopods breed like hell on that stuff, so
I
good
love when
stuff.
that stuff comes together, like the hobbies come together and mix, and people are
Yeah,
just. I don't know. It's exploding right now. I feel like it's a really cool time to be a hobbyist
it
for any of
is.
these collections, is because all these different branches are marrying,
Yes.
and it's just cool to see.
And that's the upside of all of this. I think, like you said, you're like, oh wow, an Arachid keeper is saying something totally different. I don't think it's that black and white. I think a lot of people are interested. It's just right now the hobby is very saturated with like a solid, like a dogmatic like approach to this. It's like very one way, no heat, no light, no this, not. But I don't think that's how everyone feels. I think a lot of people want to explore and mix and match, and like it's all cohesive, and I think there are a good number of folks that are like us that want to bring it all together. So
Yeah,
I,
give the
I'm
animals
I'm
what they
hopeful.
want. Not just what they need, but what they want.
Yeah.
So
That being said, don't put isopods with your spiders. Don't do that.
no,
Yeah,
no.
don't do that. But
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm glad I heard that ahead of time because I definitely would have tried to make her bioactive. And
Same. Yeah.
yeah, I don't think I give her. I couldn't get feeders here the first week that I got her, so I gave her a giant canyon isopod and then kept an eye on it. So she ate it right away, and then the
Yeah.
next one she didn't, so I had to pull it out. But there's
Yeah.
no way I was leaving it in there.
Yeah. I don't think it's an issue unless either A, they're brooding, or B, they're molting. And then in which case they're still vulnerable at either of those stages. So,
Right, but any of the isopods, who knows if you put a gravid one in there, like unless you're really
well,
checking,
yeah, you're right.
then you wind up with a colony, and then before you know it, and they burrow so much you don't really realize it.
Yeah, you're right.
So
Yeah.
don't put your animal in danger, right?
Correct. Yep.
503 had a question about jumpers. Do you recommend heat and light for jumpers? I would say light for sure, but
Yeah, obviously photo period. So like literally everything needs a photo period. Like that drives behavior in every land, even sea dwelling animal. Like a photo period, yes, 100%. We do indirect heating with our jumpers, and we've noticed a difference. What I want to be very careful is something a lot of experienced hobbyists will like. They'll differentiate between like husbandry between brooding, like gravid females, and just like a pet. And I think it's very important to not draw that line, because you can't just like pick and choose. Like only give the female heat and light, or or a heat source, and not your pet. Like, it's all this, they're all the same thing, man. And while it is important certainly to give a gravid female heat, they use it. Do it for all of them. Like, they're all going to use it because it's in their nature. So yeah, we do indirect heating, and we have noticed gravid females 100% use it. They all use it, man. Yeah, a lot of the jumpers are from the southern U.S. that are in the hobby, and very warm. Yeah. So, but here's the thing: too, you just be creative. Like, heat doesn't mean a heat lamp. Like, it doesn't mean that. Like, we use, actually, for the most of our spiders, we use T5 and LED. A lot of LED ballasts get very warm, and they're not all created the same. I know a lot of people will recommend LED right off the bat because no heat. And I kind of laugh because I'm like, well, you should give them heat, but also LEDs do get quite warm. They're not all created the same. So there's some LED ballasts that we use that heat the top of our enclosures like 6 or 8 degrees. So just play around. Yeah. Use some heat for sure.
Keep an eye on it. Yeah.
And don't just make an assumption. Always use instruments and tools to check what you're exposing your animals to, guys. It's no brainer. Just assume.
503's other comment is that they worry about overheating, and I think, in a small container, like a jumper would be in a really small setup, generally, like that's going to overheat super fast compared to.
Yeah, so pick an ambient temperature that would be like ours are. At this point, we're between 80 and 85 during the day, and then we get down to low to mid 70s at night, and that has been worked really well for us. And I'll post a video maybe on our Facebook page of how we care for the spiderlings and the jumpers in terms of heat. We do suspend a T5 that's about that far from the top of their enclosures, and you'll see them move up and down at different points throughout the day and make use of that heat. So
that's so cool to see. Yeah, because they'll come back up, warm up, and then cool off, and then warm up.
Yeah,
just like any other ectotherm. They get what they get. They have to get what they need.
Yeah, heat is energy for every ectotherm. Heat is a form of energy. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, there's just so much information unpacking this video. I'm gonna have to come back and watch this like 2 more times.
Oh man, there's still, I got to be very honest, there is so much we don't know about these things and the way they behave with their environment, and evolutionarily speaking, it's all just, even everything I'm saying, it's just observation and guesswork. But I feel pretty confident that bringing attention to this is the right thing to do, for sure. Because the animals tell you. It's not just me. The animals tell you, and they're doing it they're expressing a behavior for a reason. So
they're doing exactly. Yeah, they'll let you know exactly what they need.
Yeah.
In one way or another, you just have to be there to watch before it's too late.
Yep. Make observation. Yep. And measure. Don't just assume.
Measure. Get your instruments. Don't get that desktop thermostat. Don't do that. Garbage. It's really sensitive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming on, Ryan. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, buddy, this is cool. We'll have to do it again. I'd love to come on again and talk to you again.
Absolutely.
That'd be great.
Absolutely. So we'll definitely do that. So,
sounds great, buddy.
So, I mean, there's a lot more. I want to see your collection more too on an episode. This was an animal-free episode almost.
Yeah, it was.
I showed my newt again. That was it. I'm enthralled with my newts.
I'm glad I saw your newts. That's cool. I love
the newts. One episode. It was like 40% the newts. We had a cancellation. Last minute. I just came on and talked. So that was a lot of fun. But thank you. Awesome. Thank you so much for putting up with silliness. And
of course, man. I'm just a kid too. Yeah, man. Thank you so much. This is cool. So thank you again. And thank you guys for tuning in, whoever tuned in. And we'll see you around.
Awesome. Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, guys. That was Ryan Marshall of Marshall Arachnids. If you haven't liked or subscribed yet, well, if you're watching it already, you have. If you're watching this live, you're a subscriber. If not, like and subscribe. I'm the Johnny Carson of Isopods. Or what was it? I think it was Isopods. You're welcome, Menagerie. I forget what Dave said. Exotic Pet World. That's bigger than Isopods, my friends. Much bigger. I'll have to come up with some Carson material. I had a good time with this one. I hope you guys did too. If you haven't thought about keeping your animals more holistically, I'm sure you have. You're part of my audience. Do it. Do it. Get out, watch some videos, read a book, find out what they want, what their natural environment is like, make it a little bit more like that. What else? If you haven't written a letter to your senator yet about is it the CARES Act? It's not the CARES Act. That's for kids. I forget what it's called. I forget the name of it. I'm the worst. I've written 3 letters or 18 letters to my 2 senators about this already. And it was great. Anytime, Jessica, anytime. Seriously. We didn't get you on camera, but next time. Oh, Rick stayed around the whole time? What? So, like, subscribe, share, tell your friends, bring a friend, whatever. We'll taste test some new stuff. I'll find some gross things to drink and eat and whatever on this show. Menagerie good. Write those letters. I think someone should come up with a stock letter so we can just cut and paste and make it easier for people to flood their senators with it. So probably not me. I use too many F-bombs. So pretty savage. Next week we have, I think it's not U.S. Springtails. Next week we have a very special guest who I'm going to look up right now. Frank LaDuca. We're going to talk birds. Finally. No wonder I couldn't remember. So we're going to talk birds with Frank LaDuca next week. So next Tuesday, 8:30 p.m. CST. I hope you like birds because it's probably going to be a noisy episode if he has his birds out. And then the episode after that is the 22nd. It is our 1-year anniversary. 2/22/22/02 something. There's a lot of 2s in there. So show up for that one too. We're going to have Cheyenne Boots Houghton, and we're going to have Rachel Schindler Bach. I don't remember how she pronounces her name. Either way, I got it. One of those, I totally nailed it. So yeah, coming out. See us. We're going to have some good stuff coming up. So we'll see you guys soon. And in the meantime, stay strong, guys.